People, deluded, I'm back again. So yeah, we've now beat Bournemouth 2-1. We've got 3 points. Big up ourselves. We put ourselves in a good position with Spurs at the weekend next week. We stop off in the Europa League. But yeah, what was I going to say now? Player ratings. Now, it's a weird game for me personally, people, because on one hand, I don't feel people played appalling, and on one hand, I don't necessarily feel people played amazing. There was a lot. I felt there was some positives to take away from the game, but there was a lot wrong with the game. Not to sound pessimistic and things like that, but early on we were quite lethargic. We took 20 minutes essentially to wake up. At times, 6s and 7s, conceding some fouls that don't need to be given away. Not doing what an typical Arsenal side or we have been doing this season in terms of possession and created chances. But end of the day, I always thought we'd score goals in this fixture. We looked like we was going to score. End of the day, it's another second half turnaround. So yeah, in regards to the player ratings, I'm going to start with Leno. I did feel Leno could have done better for the first goal. Well, the only goal he's conceded. Sorry, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's not just him. And that was my initial reactions. You guys know I reviewed the game again and pre it and bring a more extended review. But on first time of watching things, I felt he could have done probably a tiny bit better for the goal. Not the lion's share of blame isn't on him. I felt he did all right. I felt his ball distribution was okay. I did feel at times he was a bit silly in that aspect. I felt at the end of the day, like, whether we say it's poor finishing from Bournemouth or good goalkeeping, not to say he was like De Gea or nothing, but he made some good saves. If it weren't saves, he was equal to stuff. He was just doing enough. So I think he gets an 8. And I think while I said I think he could have done better for the goal we conceded, I wouldn't blame him for anything. So he's probably unlucky by his standards not to get a clean sheet. It's another strong game from Leno, so I'm going to give Leno an 8. I'm going to give Hector Bellerin a 5. Again, at the end of the day, we turned it around. And at the end of the day, I don't feel Bellerin played poorly. I felt he did all right going forward. Defensively, probably could have done better for the goal, in his part in the goal as well. We were getting doubled against on the flanks. They had their winger and their fullbacks against us. I felt we lost the flanks. We lost the battle on the flanks essentially. That doesn't really make sense when you quantify 2 goals more or less came from Kohler's side, and I felt Kohler actually. Well, it didn't exactly come from Kohler's side, but you get the point. I personally felt anyways Kohler looked like one. Again, he's still suspect defensively, but going forward, he probably was the brightest aspect of us going forward today of all the players to me anyways. So yeah, I'll give Bellerin a 5 like I said. I'll give Socrates a 5. Some important tackles, some important blocks, but at times again like Mustafi, both of them giving away some unnecessary fouls in key areas, which no disrespect to Bournemouth. In fact, even Bournemouth on another day they convert these chances. On another day against a top opposition or a better opposition side, again, no disrespect to Bournemouth, convert them. We're giving fouls away in dangerous areas, especially in and around our goal. Well, it can't be inside, but you get the point. But I felt he also made some good blocks and stuff like that. So Socrates gets a 5 like Bellerin. Mustafi gets a 5 as well for the same exact reasons as Socrates. If I review the game again, I was actually initially going to give them 6s, and then I thought to myself, it's overdoing it. I felt we patterned up, but I did feel we did look a bit 6s and 7s sort of stuff in defence. So on one hand, I felt the midfield could have protected us a bit better, excluding Torreira. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird game, people. At the end of the day, I'm happy we won. So Mustafi gets a 5. I actually give Kohler a 7. Now, he was on course to get a 5 like the rest of his members of his back 4. But he was involved in 2 of the goals. And I felt definitely from an attacking threat out and out today, if anyone, it did look like he was gonna either score or be involved in the game in a goal as he was done. And I did feel for someone that was poor last week for me, I got to give a man credit, and you guys know I'm a fair person, so it would have been a 5, boost him up to a 7 for obviously the attacking exploits today. But again, it was too easy, like Bellerin to a degree, too easy on the left hand side, wasn't getting tight enough at times, and there are many things like that. So yeah, definitely a lot we can learn from today, especially in the first 20 minutes, even the first half. Holding gets a 5. At times pulled out of position. I felt he did better than the other centre halves. I felt again another consistent performance. He wasn't appalling. He was an amazing, good performance, consistent performance. This is his 7th, 8th. Correct me if I'm wrong, people in the comments. Start in a row. He's doing his thing. Southgate, I hope you're listening. I'll give Mkhitaryan a 5, people, because I felt he was quite appalling in the first 20 minutes, to be fair with you. People think I got an agenda against the man. I think he was quite appalling. I don't quite think he was at it. The end product, especially in a lot of passes when he was going inside and trying to play it out to Bellerin, weren't popping off. I felt he could have done a lot better defensively as well. But in the second half, I felt he upped his standards. In fact, towards the end of the first half and the second half, I feel he upped his standards, so he can walk away with a 5 from this, to be honest. On another day, it could have been a 4. I think I'll give Iwobi a 5 as well. And I give Iwobi a 6. I felt Iwobi, obviously, he was involved in the goals, or the goal. Again, I'm so sure he had at least a pass went through him for both the goals. I felt when Iwobi turned it on, he did all right today, but I also feel he was quite quiet today by the other, what's the word? Other head of the coin, or whatever the term is. Especially in the first half, I felt he was a bit quiet. I was thinking, Iwobi, oh my guy, come off the flanks and get involved. And he did, and things like that. So I think he's done all right to get a, do you know what? I want to say a 5 because it's just calm, but I'll give him a 6, man, because again, he was involved in the goals. I'll give him a 6. I'll give Ober an 8. Now, admittedly, if Ober didn't score, he wouldn't have got an 8, but I'll cut the man some slack, man. His strengths are clearly not holding up the play and holding up the ball and things like that, and it did look like he was playing with 10 men, but he worked the channels, he offered an outlet, he did his work defensively, he obviously popped up with the winner as well, so I'll give him an 8, to be fair with you. He did what he needed to do. Torreira, he gets a 10. Torreira's just Torreira, man. Am I probably going a bit OTT? Probably. He should have got an 8, but when you're consistent, we cut man some slack. I felt ball winning today, passing today. Obviously, he hit the post from start to finish. Probably the only player from start to finish that looked at it, and one of them we're looking at holding to a degree, but consistent performances every week from the lad. Obviously, he's clearly tired, fixture congestion and things like that, and he might very well be used on Thursday. He was taken off, which kind of, I wouldn't say bewildered me, but it scared me because Guendouzi's my guy and he's a lovely player, and you guys know I like him a lot, but one of his strengths at the moment isn't being tactically disciplined. So, and it weren't like we had a healthy lead at the time, sorry. So he gets a 10. I almost forget Xhaka, so Xhaka gets a 5. I don't feel Xhaka really put a foot wrong today, apart from he, again, could have done better for the goal. In fact, yeah, maybe a bit OTT saying he never put a foot wrong, but I don't feel he was appalling. I felt even if we walked away from a draw today, I don't really feel you could attribute a lot to Xhaka. I did think the midfield, not in fact, I suppose apart from Torreira, so Xhaka counts, I felt they could have helped out defensively a bit better. Not in terms of tracking back, because I'm not saying that weren't there, even though Mkhitaryan fell off from that. Just in the sense of just the positions they take up on a pitch, just to probably deter the fullbacks from being encouraged from making a run and trying to harm us and things like that, or just to be an extra man. I felt our midfield could have offered a bit better today. So yeah, man, at the end of the day, people, we walk away 2-1 with the 3 points. That's all we can be thankful for. We've got an important 2 weeks now. Obviously, we don't need to tell you about the history with Arsenal versus Spurs. Neither do I need to tell you about United versus Arsenal. So yeah, it's a big week, man. 6 points on the line. You could argue that's actually a 12-pointer, to be honest. When you take points off your top 6 rivals, could really count for double, because now they're gonna have to try and get you back. And obviously, all teams, unless you're City, which City might even as well, you're gonna drop points from now to the start of the season. Chelsea were undefeated, they lost. They might lose again this season. Liverpool are definitely gonna drop points. We're definitely gonna drop points. Spurs are definitely gonna drop points. A lot of people are gonna drop points this season, again and again. So we'll see how these things develop. But for now, people, what can I say? Deluded, get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm going to have my Sunday dinner now, man.